Hi, this is Shane with the Rational Trader, and what you're looking at on screen is a simultaneous test of 3 different model architectures for the machine learning system. I realized today it's what is it? It's Tuesday night at 10:30. I realized today that I'd done an enormous amount of work over the weekend changing the server and the custom study to support breakouts and to give me some more data I need to that I want to use to try to deal with the volatility that we're seeing right now, as well as make the server more resilient, some of their reliability issues. And I was in such a rush to get all that done that today, this week, Monday and Tuesday, when I started trading, what I wanted to do was get all that done so I could live trade it this week and then release it, after having burned it in, release it to members at the end of the week. And I realized that while I did a really sound job technically testing the changes to the server and the DLL and the chart books and all the things that need to be there in order for things to work. All right, that really burned in well, and we saw that because the execution was just flawless the last 2 days in live. But the other thing that I had done is I had taken lots of this data that I had and had just created a new model using all this data, and I didn't really go through the normal testing process, but I just started using all that all at once, and it was all just kind of confused in my mind as one thing that I needed to get going on Monday. And it was a comment that one of the members made today in the trading room, and I realized that I hadn't gone through the normal testing process that I do for before I would ever consider releasing a model to the members. And so that's what you see here now. Is what I did is I had a lot of different new data points collected as part of the changes to the custom study this weekend. And really what you want to do in any production system is introduce change very carefully, usually one change at a time, see the result, then do the next one, then do the next one. With a machine learning model, it's even trickier because we don't often understand what is sort of the expected result. And so in a sort of normal traditional programming worlds, when we run a test, we create a test plan, and part of that plan is the expected output, and then we compare the output that we get to the output we expect, and this is how we understand if the system is performing as expected. With machine learning, it's not quite so simple because we can't. The sophisticated pattern recognition mechanism is difficult to peer inside and see what it's doing, and so you actually have to be even more careful as you introduce change. So instead, what I ended up doing was just plugging in 12, 13 new data points. Basically, let's put them all into my machine learning blender and put it on high, and then that's what I started using Monday morning for my own live testing. And that was actually very foolish now that I think about it. And so what I've done here, actually I spent most of the day setting this up, is going back to, take the known good model that I'm using and take these different data points that I now have that I want to use to address various issues or make various improvements, and add each one incrementally to that known good model. And that's what you see here. There's actually a fourth one as well, but I had trouble getting all 4 of them running at once. So what we're seeing is, in the top left corner, there's one set of new data added to the known good state. In the middle is another one, and then in the upper right is another. And so they're all running right now. And I need to redo it because I forgot to turn on auto trading here. for these two. So I'm going to have to restart this. Probably this one as well. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to restart this. But you can see what we're doing here is going through a process of incrementally adding something, seeing if it improves it or not, and then incrementally adding something else, seeing if it improves it or not. And then actually in this case, because we've got lots of different things, then we'll start, based upon what we see, we'll start combining them in different ways and just do a much cleaner job of evaluating the changes to make to the model. And it's unclear to me if I'll be able to get that done this week. So for members that are listening, the release schedule is, look at this nice breakout right here. The release schedule is we're going to put out the new server and the new custom study that supports breakouts. We may very well keep the model exactly the same as it is until I'm comfortable that I've got actual improvements to make to that model. Okay, and then we'll go from there. So now I need to actually restart all this because these started late, though this one's clearly doing very well, 22 points. One thing I didn't mention is that all of these models have been trained on data up through March 2nd. So I'm starting on March 5th. You can see down here. So we want to test on data that the machine has never seen before. So that's what most of the day was spent doing, was getting the models trained, using the different data sets, and then setting up what you're seeing here, which is those different models running all at the same time, because when you change the model architecture, the server has to change. So there's actually three servers running down here. That's what these are. Okay, each one's tied to a chart. And so then I'll look tomorrow morning and see how is who won basically, and then from there make some decisions on if I want to combine two of them together or not, and if I do, then I'll do another test. And then when I get something I like, then what we do is we go back and we actually rewind it and build another model that's just through, say, December, and then run a test on data for the entire January, February, March time frame. And that's how that's the process we'd go through to validate a model. This is interesting because you can see this one in the upper left is doing quite well. On 3.5, the model was only trained on data through the March 2nd, so that's a pretty spectacular gain. So whatever that one happens to be, I'll have to look it up. It's a Rev 50. We'll be taking a look at that to see if that holds across the time frame. This is the H contract because we're on March 5th, so it's actually good for 4 or 5 days. I think we changed to the M contract on the 9th or 10th, so I'll have to restart this again on the M contract at that time.